Tuesday, July 22nd meeting of the St. Broward Community Improvement Corporation. If we could have a roll call by the secretary, please.
Jonathan Stuchel.
Present.
Tom Ralston's absent. Bob Culbertson's absent. Priscilla Myers here. Joe Brickler.
Here.
Peggy Brickwig.
Here.
Ray Culbertson. Here. Jeff Edwards.
Here.
Allie Palmer.
Here.
Chris Sauer.
Here.
Amy Osali.
Here.
Meredith Hughes. Taylor Voigt.
All right. Normally the secretary does the minutes, but I did prepare the minutes since I did them last time. So I did email them out, and if I had a chance to review them.
You can fire me as well.
No, stop. We get so no. There was an error that I actually had pointed out. So again, I made sure that this time we had. So with your voice to text program, it likes to give him an EN, and he was kind of repulsed by the spelling. So again, and we did have such an egregious error that for some reason somehow we came out of that without the minutes even being approved. So anyhow, just want to let you know. But anyhow, you've had a chance to review the minutes. If there are there any corrections? If not, do we have a motion to accept?
Motion that we accept the minutes as they are.
I'll second it.
Motion by Joe Brickler, seconded by Peggy Brickwig. Accepted.
Great. Does anyone have a treasurer's report? All right. So as far as action items, update on the demolition in the shopping center, I wanted to run over with you, Chris, and there is a second change order that I need to get to you. And that was, again, for the asbestos coated pipe that they discovered.
Okay.
So, and I believe it was right around 5,800. I don't know if that sounds right. It was, I'll verify that, but I did approve that because they still needed to move on and they thought it would take them a couple days. But again, basically right now, I mean, they're removing the foundation. They're making, substantial progress. One thing that I wanted to touch on as well, and maybe this is something that Tim Williams had been following up on. We got confirmation from Duke that within the next week or two that transformer on the corner is going to be removed. So with that being said, since we do have the additional funds, from the other grant, whether or not, we want to go ahead and have that, if they do remove the transformer, do we have them go ahead and, even though they've backfilled, do we have them go ahead and dig out that corner and remove that remaining portion of the basement wall while they're here?
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is we should have them do it as long as they're still here to do it, sure. And then I don't remember what, Taylor, you might know, what was the second half? What's that? How much money was involved in the second half of the grant or the other grant?
So the amount that we have approved, the amount that we have approved is actually much larger than we're going to spend because the scope was larger than we initially anticipated. We were initially talking about whether the asphalt of the parking lot came out too, which is obviously something we're not moving forward with now. So there's enough there to make that happen. I would definitely recommend just clearing the site completely. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess the other question being is that as far as in your communication with O'Rourke, are they still going to move forward with shoring up that wall as far as you're concerned?
Yes, I think my recommendation would be to have them shore that up. It's gonna be there long enough that I would be concerned about weather events taking down that block wall. The only thing really supporting it right now is the joist, which isn't really designed to keep it held up without the other joists, which are now gone.
Right. Okay. So again, they're making great progress. I mean, moving right along. So I'm thrilled, and I think at least the community can see what it looks like with it scraped, and it's a refreshing sight. So as of right now, that's where we're at. Update on progress of the developer and current status. I'm still in their due diligence period. I don't know if Taylor or Meredith, you had anything to add. I mean, it's just still in process. One of the things, though, I did want to touch on kind of while we're on this, just a basic refresher, because at times there seems to be misinformation that gets distributed about the actual development itself. The development, as far as the scope of the development and the overall design, the design portion's not finalized, but we've, basically looking at, again, 190-unit mixed-use development with 5,000 square feet of retail space on the lower level, which was reduced from the original 10. But the scope of the project hasn't really changed, and, we have had some information that was requested where people wanted an update, people that may have moved into the community, curious about the project, and then there are people that have answered, say, on our behalf. So, again, there hasn't been anything that's changed. Anyone that wishes to, from the community that would like to see some of the original concepts as far as the footprint and layout, I mean, that's all available. The developer has been here several times to make those presentations and updates. So really, again, there isn't anything that has changed from our original intent. So as far as an update on the contesting of the property value of the shopping center, I'd, kind of lean on Meredith for that.
We did win our appeal for the 2024 valuation, so the auditor is going to reduce the total value from 2.1 and some change to 757,000, which is what our appraiser appraised it at. So that is a huge drop. The next step in the process is that the Board of Revision will issue a formal opinion. That opinion will go to the auditor and the treasurer so they can kind of do the back office work to adjust that number. And then we will either get a refund back for the difference in valuation, because we've already paid 2024. So we'll either get a refund back or it will go as a credit on the 2025 taxes. I'm not quite sure which, but I have to wait for that formal opinion to come out before I can call and ask.
That's great news. And this is kind of a repeat item as far as sale of property. So the 306 Bank Street. So I still need to send a letter to the remaining property owner on the right side, but the new property owner to the left of the property has called again and is still super interested in actually acquiring that property. I brought this up at the last meeting, and I'm not that I'm trying to point at both of you, but Taylor, since you were primarily the one that was in control of helping with the side lot purchases, the program that we offered. In this case, I'm trying to remember, because I can't find the initial communication that was sent, whether or not when we sent out notice to the adjoining property owners, whether we did list a purchase price in that, or whether or not just asking for potential interest. I mean, we definitely have an interested buyer, but we don't have, an exact amount, because basically what we're looking at, that particular lot is valued right now currently at $13,920 based on their, the market value per se. Again, without a structure, it's not a buildable lot. It has a cistern on the front end, so it's something we inherited. And I guess the point is, we had a number of roughly, again, if I went back to the comp side of what we did, when we did the Orchard Street, we were at, at 2790, where I saw that.
Was Orchard prior to the application process that we currently have? Just
It may have been, it may have been.
I'd like to look into this. I'm going to hold on giving you an exact answer right now, just so I can actually look back at the application materials. I cannot recall if we deferred to the auditor's value or if there was a set price associated with the side lot program.
We didn't have I cannot remember how we came up with that amount, but it was valued at greater than the lot that we sold in Orchard was greater than the 2,000, whatever ended up being. But again, I would like, and we brought this up at the last meeting, and basically the board gave approval to make contact to start look at marketing the property, because again, it's something that's not a buildable lot. It's a continued lot that we have. It's sizable enough based upon depth that it requires quite a bit of annual maintenance. So, the adjoining property owner is definitely interested in it, and I would like to follow up with him and also, again, provide proper notice based on the sale process to both the other adjoining owner.
I mean, I think if the board were open to listing the property, that would be the first step, and then we can assess after the application comes in, and get to the bottom of the price then. But I think it's a question of whether or not the board would be open to that property being made available.
So no, but based on the last meeting that we had, we talked about it being a side lot purchase, so opening it up to the adjoining property owners first, not just making it a public sale.
And I apologize, I was out at the last meeting on vacation. So was it decided at the last meeting by the board that we want to go ahead and make that property available to potential applicants?
To make the property available first to the either adjoining property owner, as we did with other side lots in the
Yeah.
past.
I think that makes sense.
But the point, the question I had was based on coming up with an actual value, whether we're talking about true assessed value from the Hamilton County Auditor, or whether or not we come up with a different price, again, because the property is more of a liability to us than an asset, so, whatever the recommendation would be.
I think typically, and I don't know if that's how you guys want to do it this time around, but the property review committee typically offers a recommendation on how we approach things like price and that matter. So it might give a little bit more time to dig in on this and make sure that we're being consistent and setting a standard that everyone's comfortable with moving forward. Yeah.
So,
If we issued initial offers, I mean, it would have been years ago now, but I would like to look at what those letters included before we made a decision.
so if we can try to schedule potentially a quick property review committee meeting, at least before the next scheduled meeting, and then I will let the interested party that we have know, but in the meantime, we would still need to discuss whether or not we'd already approved notifications, so whether or not we can come up before the next meeting with some appropriate, letter to the other owner as well. So if we can try to, whether we schedule it tonight, whether we send out a few dates based on our calendars, but as long as we can have that, I would say before the next meeting, that would be great. All right. As far as anything under open discussion, additional agenda items, does anyone in the audience have anything? Kelly? Okay. Anybody on the board have anything under open items or additional? Anybody want to fill in for Tom? Okay. So at this point, I show our next meeting on August 26th at 6 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.